My name is Helen. I'm 69 years old, and every morning I still wake up before sunrise. Not because I can't sleep, but because that first light that slides through my curtains, it still feels like hope. It makes the coffee smell different, almost as if the world is brand new again. I live with my daughter and her husband. Technically, it's their house now. They said it's better for the taxes. I didn't argue. I've stopped arguing years ago. That morning, I went outside to water my hydrangeas. I still have strong hands, hands that raised kids, carried boxes, built a life. While I was watering the flowers, I heard voices coming from the kitchen window. It was my son-in-law. "She needs to make up her mind," he said. "We can't keep doing this forever. She's old, honey. I mean, who even needs her anymore? She'd be better off in a care home. We can't afford this, and I'm tired of pretending." My daughter tried to whisper something back, but he continued. "You know what's embarrassing? When my friends come over and your mother's sitting there asking if they want more tea, it's awkward." He laughed a little. That soft, self-satisfied laugh. The kind of laugh that doesn't know how cruel it sounds. I froze right there, holding the watering can against my chest. The water spilled slowly onto my feet, warm and useless. A care home. Old. Not needed. Funny, isn't it? You spend your whole life being mom, and one day, without warning, you become a problem to be solved. That evening, we had dinner together. He spoke about his new business project. My daughter smiled politely, but her hands were shaking just a little. I served baked fish, his favorite, and said quietly, "We're out of lemons. I'll go to the market tomorrow. Don't worry, we'll order online. And you probably shouldn't be carrying heavy bags anymore. You. Not mom, just you." I smiled, a small, tight smile that no one noticed. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat at my desk, going through old drawers. Inside, letters from my late husband, family photos, and my old nurse's certificates. Diplomas from courses I took decades ago, senior care, first aid, rehabilitation support. I ran my fingers over the paper. It was warm, like skin that still remembers being touched. And I thought, maybe he's right. Maybe I am old. Maybe my voice doesn't matter anymore. Then, somewhere between 3 and 4 a.m., something changed. A quiet voice inside me said, "Don't fight. Don't cry. Work." The next morning, I put on my old coat and went for a walk downtown. There used to be a bakery on the corner. Now it was just an empty shop. Dusty windows, a flickering light. A man sat outside. A veteran named Joe. "Is the owner around?" I asked. "Only when the tax people come," Joe grinned. "What do you need?" "A chance. Just 1 month." He looked at me, probably wondering if I was lost. But a few hours later, I had the keys. That little empty shop became my project. I swept, cleaned, and opened the windows. On the door, I taped a small handwritten sign. Warm room. Tea. Stories. The first few days, only Joe came to warm his hands and talk about the weather. Then others started stopping by. People who were tired, lonely, or simply curious. I poured tea, gave out cookies, and listened. Sometimes they cried, sometimes they just wanted silence. Then 2 young volunteers found me. They had read about the place online. They brought a microphone. "We'll record people's stories," they said. "Everyone needs to be heard." That's how our quiet evenings began. No shouting, no drama, just human voices and tea. I didn't tell my daughter or her husband. They probably thought I was out buying groceries every day, and maybe that was easier. A few weeks later, the local library called. They had heard about the warm room and wanted to host a joint event. We called it Evenings of Quiet Stories. People came, students, pensioners, even businessmen who pretended they were only just passing by. They shared moments from their lives, heartbreak, joy, regret. We clapped after every story. Not loud, just enough to make someone feel seen. At the end, a woman approached me. She was elegant, probably rich. "My mother's in a nursing home," she said softly. "She doesn't talk anymore after her stroke, but now I realize she doesn't need words. She just needs a room where someone listens." I smiled, because that's all I wanted too. Meanwhile, my son-in-law's business was falling apart. He came home later and later, snapping at my daughter, blaming market volatility. One night, he told me bluntly, "We need to rent your room, just for a few months. Cash flow problem." I said nothing. Then he added, "Actually, it's time we think about a proper care facility for you. It's safer, medical staff, less stress." I looked him straight in the eyes and said, "I was a nurse for 30 years. I know what safe means." He blinked, confused. I wasn't angry. I was clear. "Give me 2 weeks. If I don't prove I can still be useful, I'll go." He smirked. 2 weeks? What could you possibly prove in 2 weeks? You'll see. The next day, I put on my old coat to find the family caring for elderly loved ones. I put it in online forums. Within hours, people came. Sons, daughters, grandchildren, all carrying the same invisible weight. They showed me photos of pills, bruises, x-rays. We talked about hydration, lifting safely, and emotional burnout. We laughed, cried, and learned together. A few days later, the library offered us a hall. We hosted a small workshop, Small Skills for Big Care. I taught them what I knew: how to help someone sit up without hurting their back, how to recognize dehydration, how to comfort without words. At the end, a man from the local city council stood up. "Miss Helen, we'd like to support your initiative. Make it a pilot project. You've built something this city needs." I didn't know what to say. I just smiled, the same quiet smile I gave my son-in-law weeks ago. When I came home that evening, my daughter hugged me. "Mom, what's going on? People keep tagging your name online. They say you're a local hero." My son-in-law looked up from his phone. "Hero? What's this about?" "Just come next Friday. You'll see." That Friday, he came. Late, of course. He arrived during our small community concert called Home for the Homeless. There was music, pie, laughter. I introduced him to Joe, the veteran. "This is Joe. He used to sit outside freezing. Now he's our guard." Then I introduced him to the elegant woman from before. "This is the lady whose mother found peace through our room." He said nothing, but his shoulders dropped, a small sign of surrender. Later that evening, the city councilman announced our official partnership: a small grant, real funding, and finally, recognition. People clapped, and I saw something break inside my son-in-law's eyes. He walked over to me, voice low. "I was wrong. You're incredible. I'm sorry." I touched his hand. "You're just learning," I said. "We all are." He nodded. "Let me help with your website. This deserves to be seen." And just like that, the man who once said I was too old to be useful was sitting next to me, teaching Joe how to use a tablet. Months passed. The warm room grew. We hosted quiet stories on Mondays, care lessons on Wednesdays, and tea Sundays every weekend. People brought flowers, books, donations. One little girl once came in and left a jar full of coins labeled "Tea for Lonely Hearts." I still wake up early, and sometimes my son-in-law joins me. We drink coffee in silence, And when the sun rises, I can see in his eyes he's proud. Not of me, but of what we built together. One evening, he showed me a newspaper article. A small project called The Warm Room proves that age is not a limitation, it's a resource. He smiled. "They're talking about you, Mom." And for the first time, he called me Mom. Not her, not you, just Mom. I laughed quietly and said, "Thank you, son. But remember, it was never just me."